And here we are. Good afternoon, Crystal. How are you, ma'am?
I am awesome. It's a good day to be alive today. I just saw something and I'll share it after the show, but that made me chuckle and made me
Okay.
uh, uh, give kudos to life once again because sometimes life seems like it's like wait, something's not just not fair, but this one was right on point.
Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. Well, I'm very excited about our broadcast today. It's a topic, I think I sent it to you, the
Yeah, you
topic
did.
of inflation. And that's been on the minds of people for a very long time, even way before the current administration. But it's always something to talk about when a new administration gets involved. So the cool thing about what I'm going to suggest, though, is that it doesn't matter who's in office, what the market looks like, the principles still apply. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, did you get the notes I sent you?
I do. I have them here. And I
Okay.
have to say this, you're absolutely right, because with all the chaos going on, I was looking at my portfolio. I have two apps that I use, and one of them is like, whoa. And then the other one is like, wow.
Oh, does that mean that's a good thing
Yeah,
or
the one that the wow is the
yeah.
one that's well balanced.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
and the other one, not quite so balanced because I did that one. The other one was chosen for me. What can I say?
Things
Mm,
people we should trust. I see.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully the person that chose it for you was a professional.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm going to read your bio, and then we're
Okay.
going to jump right into a discussion with regard to fighting inflation in your retirement plan portfolio, broken down by ages 35, 45, and 55. Sound good?
Sounds
Okay,
good.
here we go. Okay, everyone, please help me welcome my friend and colleague, Crystal Mitchell. She is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, a co-host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, that other weekly online show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Hey, everyone. Good to be here.
Okay, let's jump right in.
All right.
So, as we suggested at the top, inflation has been a bugaboo for investors for a very long time. Um, and as you can know, it's been with us for a long time. And even though inflation seems to be around 2.5 to 3%, that's still great cause for worry. Right? It's funny how, for me, however, uh, how people look at inflation differently depending on how it affects them. So, for example, I've never seen anyone say, inflation has been going up so much here, but I think I'm just going to lower the price of my house because I don't want to, charge people that kind of money. I've never heard anyone say that. However, I do hear people complaining about the cost of a stamp where they'll take a letter for 25 cents or so from some horrible place in Texas and deliver it a few days later in Alaska. That's just to me amazing, right? However, as you know, prices are what we call sticky downward. So the chances that they're going to go down quite a bit, that is, we're going to have negative inflation. I'm not saying the D word. You didn't hear the D word here, but the chances we're going to have a reduction in price is pretty slim. But let's jump in and see what we can do. So starting with someone who's in their mid 30s, early 30s, they've got some concerns with inflation. I've got the example here of Em. I'll just read it to you.
Okay.
She's 35 years old. She discovered that in her target date fund, the mix was 50-50. Now, let's not talk about target date funds. I'd love to talk about that. 50% stocks, 50% bonds. So she was advised to uh, increase the volatility in her portfolio, increase the amount of stocks in portfolio to 85 over 15. That way she can harness long-term growth right now, right? That is,
Mm-hmm.
while she's younger and she's got time for the market, because we like long-term investors, while she's got time and can take advantage of dips in the market, why not take a bit more risk?
Okay.
Now, of course, this advisor, I don't know this advisor, but I'm sure that advisor was able to put a risk questionnaire in front of Emma, see if that risk was appropriate for her. Because, as you know, one of my favorite expressions, the investment portfolio that keeps you up at night is not worth it, right? The risk questionnaire is incredibly important. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're going to be compounding, let's maximize those contributions while we can, or maximize that compounding while we can. Okay, the second example that we have for someone who is needing to perhaps maximize that contribution comes from this person by the name of Emma, who was looking at her portfolio and noticing that she was not contributing to the Roth section of her 401k. A bugaboo to me. Please don't call it a Roth 401k. I hate that. The Roth section of a 401k. Usually people have the same investments. It's just that some investments are invested in the pre-tax traditional section and some are in the Roth section. That happens to be after tax. That's just my little bugaboo. You don't have to repeat it to anybody else. Anyway, anyway, the advisor suggested that Emma also, in this example, start contributing to the Roth section of her portfolio because, as you know, taxes are going to go up most likely. And the nice thing about the Roth section of the portfolio, at least presently, is that when you take that money out after 59 and a half, you don't have to pay taxes on it, right? You don't have to pay taxes on the growth. You've already paid taxes on the amount that you put in. That's kind of a good deal if you're not sure what the tax rate's going to be.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So contributing to the Roth section of the portfolio means you give up some benefit now, but later on, you gain the ability to take money out of your portfolio in a tax-free way. Now, some people ask me, okay, how much should I put in either one, or should I do either one? Well, heretofore, there was a policy where even if you did invest in the Roth section of your portfolio and your employer matched your portfolio, let's say you put in the typical safe harbor match of 5% and your employer put in 4%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heretofore, that match was always pre-tax. But the Secure Act 2.0 has put some wording out there, and financial service companies are trying to work through how they can actually create situations where the employer contributes after-tax dollars to your contribution. That is, they match after-tax dollars. So that's coming. They haven't quite figured out who's going to print the 1099 and how they're going to handle that tax situation. That's coming. So as of right now, though, right now, here and now, the situation is that even if you contribute pre-tax and your employer matches, in general, they're going to match. I'm sorry, even if you contribute after tax and your employer matches, they're generally going to match pre-tax. That's the way it's set up right now. Could change, could change soon. So most financial advisors suggest that you have both pre-tax and after tax. No one's going to say which one is better because we really don't have a good idea as to what the tax landscape is going to look like 10, 15, 20 years from now. Some of us think it's only going to go up, but we don't know. We don't know. So most financial advisors suggest you have both, right? Pre-tax and
okay. All right.
It really does depend on how you feel. The cool thing about Roth transaction is that they do, at the present, if you do make Roth transactions, they do allow you to pull that money out of your retirement plan after 59 and a half without having to pay tax.
Oh, okay. That's a good thing right there.
That's a very good thing.
I would think you need it on the back end almost more than you need it on the front end.
Yeah, if you can, I personally like traditional 401ks, traditional contributions, because I want my benefit now. I'll deal with it later. I want mine now.
You want yours now.
Now, yeah. But that does make sense. Okay, so let's move on to someone who happens to be, let's say, 45.
Okay.
So first of all, you want to make sure that you've got the right mix again, right? So make sure you take that questionnaire. And I would say the most important thing, and I'm reading from my notes here, I would say the most important thing a person can do in any stage here is that go online, find the tool that you use to determine what your portfolio is, what the amount of money you're going to need when you retire, and work backwards from there. And I think people should do that actually once a year, because you never know what's going to happen. Things are going to happen in your life. Things are going to happen to your portfolio. All kinds of things happen. You might lose your job. You might get a different job. Who knows? So I think it's always, always good to, number one, rebalance your portfolio on a regular basis. Number two, take that risk questionnaire on a regular basis. And then number three, see what it looks like. See if you're on track to reach your retirement goal, and try to get a fairly robust portfolio. Many retirement plan companies out there, they've got a fairly robust portfolio where you can actually put in how much credit card debt you have, what your assets might be from different accounts. Let's say you've got a former company's 401k out there, or another IRA, or something that's going to bring you money, an inheritance or whatever. So your favorite expression, do your research, but do the research, go out there, find one of those portfolios. I'll just put a plug in for your retirement plan advisor, your retirement plan website. Go there first. So lots of times they have very, really robust systems, and keep up on that and see what it looks like, right? See if you're on track to reach those goals. That's the most important thing. And then, of course, you can, at the age of 45, if you think so, if you think it's necessary, you've taken the risk questionnaire, let's say your risk tolerance has changed. And by the way, your risk tolerance is supposed to change because it's based on what's going on in your life. So don't think that because you had a risk tolerance that was X in your 20s, that you should have one that's specifically Y in your 40s. They go up and down, right?
Especially as you get older and get closer to that timeline, and it seems like that timeline keeps moving. Yes. You may be 90 when you really get to retire.
There you go. Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Just being real.
So there's a couple of things that someone might be able to do, things that are to kind of help with that inflation thing. I was looking here at my notes and thinking, well, you could put some inflation fighters in your portfolio, like REITs or TIPS or Treasury inflation protected securities. And those are the big ones. I wrote down managed portfolios here. As you know, I'm not a big fan of managed portfolios because I think you do well to educate yourself. No one's going to take care of your portfolio as well as you can. But for those of us who are thinking, I need some professional management, I'm a good broadcaster, I'm not a very good retirement or investment person. So you need some professional help. You might want to consider a managed portfolio. If you get a managed portfolio, make sure it's one where you can actually talk to someone. Most managed portfolios that I know, you really don't get a chance to actually talk to someone. What happens is your assets are put into a big bucket of people that are similar to you, and that person, a person or a group of people, manages that big bucket based on a questionnaire that you made. So I don't really call that managed.
Okay.
It's just my personal opinion. I'm probably pissing a lot of people off, so please don't send any cards and letters. But if you're going to have a managed portfolio, I would pay someone to actually manage your particular portfolio and have a conversation with them specifically.
I think in this day and age, then you need to be in contact with anybody that happens to be doing anything with your money. That's what I say. So I
Well said.
am with
Well,
you 100% of the way, because uh-uh.
yeah, right,
Just,
right.
it's just, you need to be.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Well said. Okay. Let's take a look at for those folks. Take a look at those folks that are a little bit older. Let's say they're in their 50s. What
Okay.
are they going to do, right? They may be
Mm-hmm.
feeling, oh, I don't have enough time for the monies to come back. They may be thinking that. And I hate that expression, but they may be thinking that. So what can they do? Well, talk to your retirement plan advisor. There are some retirement plans that have the ability to have um, lifetime guaranteed income, guaranteed annuities in them. If that's
Mm-hmm.
something that you want to do, um, take a look at what you think your retirement is going to look like. Again, right? Make sure that you're throwing in there. I mean, take a really good look at how much you've got for healthcare,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because that can eat up your money. But
Yeah.
uh, same thing. Look at that risk questionnaire. Think about putting some REITs or tips in there. Make sure, as you know, I'm a big believer in 5 years before you retire, connect with that financial advisor and gradually move yourself into retirement, right?
Mm.
Don't just all of a sudden decide, well, I'm retired, time to take my money and go. Don't do that. How do we used to say it? Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Everything requires some thought right now.
It does.
Everything requires lots of thought.
Yes. So hire that financial advisor to help you transition into retirement. And when that happens, hopefully you're going to have a conversation about, okay, do I need to set up an annuity so I get that paycheck coming? Because, we're kind of used to doing the paycheck thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to set up maybe some alternative incomes, like perhaps maybe some property that I have that I can rent out, that kind of thing? All those kinds of things that you would do in order to provide income for yourself in retirement, you're going to have to start looking at that as a hedge against inflation.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. The last thing I'm going to mention, and I think it's kind of a no-brainer, but I wouldn't be a plan advisor if I didn't. And that is consider what we call dynamic withdrawal. Right? Most times when we start planning for taking money out of our retirement plan,
Mm-hmm.
we use the 4% rule. That is, we need our portfolio to grow enough so that we can take 4% out, and that 4% is what we're going to live on. So it needs to
Okay.
grow like 5-6% a year. We take our 4% out, we're still going to be okay. Or if it doesn't grow and we take our 4% out over X amount of years, are we still going to be okay? So 4% is kind of like a magic number.
Mm.
So I'm going to say, take a look at working with a financial advisor while you're in retirement and consider setting up your portfolio so that when you have good years, you take a little bit more out. When you have not so good years, you take a little bit less out. So that's going to suggest that when you're taking a look at alternatives for um, income streams in retirement, that you get some alternatives that are going to increase with inflation. That might be rental property. It might be land that you own.
Mm.
It could be a business that you're sort of working on, uh,
Right.
and then combine that concept with the annuity. So maybe the annuity covers, 80% of your needs, and the other 20% comes from other things.
Yeah. No,
So
I
we,
think that's a great idea, and that means it's really, really important that you that you're always in tune to what your finances are, right? Because like you're right, you sure if you have other revenue streams, multiple is preferable.
Mhm.
Then that will shore up that time that
Yep.
you don't have to take as much from that arm, because you have this other arm, and then the other arm, especially if that happens to be a business, um, you have business expenses that can be deductible that also
Right.
can reduce your tax liability. So that's a good way to go, because
Mhm.
businesses have lots of expenses that go along
They
with
do.
them.
They
So
do.
having a business,
It's a big
your
thing.
what do I call it? Your second act is really a good thing, even if it's no more than for tax purposes.
Well said. Well said. I don't think I would have been brave enough to say that, but I think you're spot on. I think you're exactly right. There's nothing wrong with a little business to help with those taxes.
Help with those taxes, right? Exactly.
We all need a little help with our taxes.
A little bit, a little
We'll
bit.
get a little bit.
And they're all legal. They're all legal
Legal business is
deductions.
good. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
legal deductions
Legal
are
business.
excellent.
Yeah.
They're the IRS says you can have so many business deductions, and those would be the deductions that you would be taking.
Yes.
So
Yes. Please don't talk to people about illegal businesses.
no. This would be all
No tax
legally
benefits for
registered
illegal.
businesses that I would coach you on. How about
There you go. There you go.
that?
There you go. Okay, so just to wrap this up, kind of,
Hmm.
um, uh, taking a look at your portfolio, making sure your risk is appropriate, the amount of risk that you're taking in your portfolio is appropriate
Hmm.
for hedging inflation, taking a look at some of those investments, tips, REITs, uh, defensive stocks, those kinds of things. Um, See about using those in your portfolio depending on where you are, and then consider what we call dynamic withdrawal. That's what I've got. I'll let you have the last word.
I think what you're saying is important. And if we looked at the three scenarios that he gave you, as you can see, when you're younger, you can be a little bit more risky, and because you're younger. And as you get older, you have to look at things a little differently. You have to do your homework, and it's your life. And what type of life do you want to live post work? What does retirement look like for you?
Cool. Cannot have said it better myself. Thank you very much, Crystal.
Hmm.
Well, this has been Conversations on the Patio. We've been talking about inflation. I'm Jevon Thomas, retirement plan advisor. And this is Crystal Mitchell. She is all of that stuff. I'll read the bio real quick now. Business consultant and coach, CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, co-host of the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, another radio show,
Hmm.
instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, QuickBooks Pro Advisor, financial strategist, and award winner for the best teacher in the world, Crystal Mitchell.
Thank you for that, Javon. Out of all those credentials, that one I'm loving right now.
All right, cool.
All
So will
righty.
you be here next week, next Monday? We'll be
Yes,
here.
I will be. We do have to make an adjustment a little bit, because I'm getting ready to go back into um, uh, biz camp. So we'll have to make some adjustments after the 16th of June when I go back in, and we're there for the summer.
Sounds good. Cool.
Okay.
Cool beans. Cool beans. All righty, everybody. We'll see you next week on Conversations on the Patio. Bye,
All righty.
Crystal.
Bye bye, everyone. Have a great week.